So there's this weed tree on my property and it doesn't offer any real benefit. It's basically an eyesore, doesn't offer any fruit, any shade, any beauty. So I started cutting it down branch by branch, and as I was getting closer to the middle on one side, I could see that the previous owners of the house had literally tied a strap around the middle branches, in theory, to make it not fall into the ditch because of the weight of the branches. My first thought was, why didn't they just cut it down? Why would they just put some sort of band-aid on it and try to help it keep growing? I'm not sure how long the strap has been on there, but it's definitely a tall tree and has been growing for quite a while. So what started happening was because these living branches grew so tall, they started bending over because of their weight and not allowing the middle branches that were strapped together to get any sun or rain, so now they're all dead. So this tree is living on the outside, looks green and somewhat healthy, but the inside is dead and literally can be pulled away from the tree itself. And so as you drive past the house, you can see a tree that is allegedly healthy and allegedly standing on its own, even though it is in fact a weed tree. The other thing I realized is that the roots of this tree, in spite of being dead stalks in the middle, were quite strong. So this weed tree reminds me of many strongholds of sin in people's lives, in my life too. Things that I haven't brought to God and hoped that I could make it look like I had control of. For me, one of these things is pride. Pride is really the root of all of our sin. When we commit any sort of sin, pride is that thing fueling our decision to go our own way and not go the direction that God wants us to go. And God will not force us to do His will. He will allow us to go our own way and to see the consequences. In John 15, Jesus says this to His disciples: "Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." What God wants for us is to allow him to come in, cut out that weed tree, so that our lives can be truly beautiful and not weighed down by this burden on our souls. Though I'm cutting this weed tree down, God is the one who actually cuts our weed trees down. He does the work. Our part is to accept the freedom that he has already provided, to be in relationship to him, so he might free us from things that offer no benefit to us. In the last 10 years, amongst many other sins, God has worked on my pride and my need for the recognition of man. My pride, of course, isn't totally gone, but it has been decreased by a great amount over the last decade through prayer, humbling experiences, and truly realizing that without God, I am nothing. This weed tree didn't come down in one Saturday, nor will it be gone in the next few weeks, as I have to cut it down in a wheelbarrows full of branches at a time, burn the branches, and then continue that same process in my free time. I also realized something. Removing the weed tree slowly will allow me to look at the view it allows with a greater joy because of the time spent on getting rid of it. The sanctification process, or the removal of a stronghold of sin, is the same way. It's a gradual process. Don't expect any sin that you are struggling with to be gone in one prayer, or in one day, or in 1 week, or in even 1 month, or even 1 year. Plan on tackling the sin every day and allowing God to remove it at his own pace. The way you tackle it is by spending more time with God. And as he starts to remove it, he is trying to reveal himself to you more and more, that you might be able to glorify him more and more each day. Then you can sit back and watch what God does with those things that we thought would never be lifted from the soil of our hearts.